How are you doing?
Good morning, welcome. It's 7:30. You're welcome to OTB AM and pre-show discussion ongoing. I'm here. Colm Boohig is there.
Adrian, good morning.
And the big Lebowski is over there in the corner. Morning, Shane.
Good morning, how are things, folks?
Oh, wow.
Happy Friday.
How's everybody doing?
Happy Friday. Flying it.
Very good.
Great form
Just
this
looking at us here.
Yeah?
Probably
How's that going for you?
just probably needed a darker colour.
We're all decked out this morning in the finest of threads from the needle, if that's how you put it, of Paul Galvin via Dunn Stores. The Lines collection, as I think he's briefly mentioned to us before, we must have him back in again and have a deep dive on that. But some lovely stuff. He sent us in a rail overnight, so we're all decked out. I've got the stripy Grandad shirt here.
Yeah.
You've been just making the point, Colm, before we come in here, that they're all sort of
I've gone
reflective
for
of our
this
personalities.
slick, very slick top. What you do, you don't wear anything that's going to completely dominate the other part of your clothing. So this is quite complimentary to what I'm wearing underneath.
Fair.
But also do look a bit like the leader in The Simpsons.
You do. There's something quite dystopian about it, isn't there?
Yeah, but it's very nice, very nice. I'm a big fan of the Paul Galvin wear in general, as you all know. About half my wardrobe is Paul Galvin.
It's a big reason why he said, listen, you've been good to us.
Yeah.
We'll send you in some stuff. And so reflective probably of personality. It's certainly on the plainer side. You know, when we talk about reflective personalities.
Oh no, I wouldn't agree with that now at all. But listen,
and Shane, there really is something for everybody in this range.
There is. Even for me. No, I do like Paul Galvin stuff. I've told Paul before I have a pair of his shoes that I wear quite consistently. But this one, folks, I mean, people can see it there. It's absolutely fantastic. I mean,
it's very reflective of your personality.
But it's very Friday, and like I woke up this morning and the sun was out. Do you know?
no, like it's a loud shirt.
It is.
You can't wear a loud shirt and be like, well, that's my personality.
That's my point.
That's it.
Oh, but I think that is. It's
No, you've got to do more than that. Like
good for festivals as well this summer. It's got a lovely, I have to say, the
lovely feel about it.
There's a little bit of stretch. Do you feel that?
Oh yeah,
it's pretty good.
Summer feel.
Yeah.
What do you feel?
It's light. It is actually
bad.
very summer feel.
You're like
it's
a family
ideal.
gathering.
It's my first sort of.
You're like a Sunday afternoon family gathering. Yeah.
It's light and if it's a sunny day.
How are the wife and kids? Yeah, that's what you're wearing.
Yeah.
So is that right?
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know if it's very obvious on the screen there, but it's like a pink striped.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
The Grandad collar as well.
Grandad collar,
Mine's
both Grandad collars.
The sleeves up actually says more about a personality. I think.
What does that say?
It's down to business.
I do like
this.
That's a power move. I do the same.
Oh, power move, is it really?
Yeah,
Right.
I'm here for business.
Fergie used to put his hands behind his head in Friday press conferences.
Yeah.
Slow the pace down.
Right.
And that's it. You're actually doing the opposite. If anything, you're rolling the sleeves up. So Shane
Increasing
can't
the pace.
roll any sleeves up.
No,
I wouldn't.
And I'm the opposite then.
Well, he doesn't need to draw any more attention to himself, I think.
That's true, yeah. We'll play it down from here.
Dunstores.com if people are looking to head along and get yourself some of that gear. It is really nice stuff, and I'm sure we'll have more of it coming your way over the next few weeks as well. The other thing that we need to mention before we get it, look, we thought it was football last night. We're getting there. Big night in the Hannon household tonight.
Oh, huge. The younger sister, Rachel May Hannon. She's actually Rachel, or her middle name is May, but that's her stage name. Stage name she uses.
Nice.
Good name. Yeah, it's a good name. She's performing on the Late Late Show this evening. Looking forward to that. Her new single, The Boys, which you can stream now wherever you get your songs, Spotify and all the rest. The Boys, Rachel May Hannon. Stream it. Just trying to get into everyone's brains here this morning. You'll hear her perform it live on the Late Late Show tonight, which is just cool. It's one of Tubridy's last shows. I think he's maybe only got 2 or 3 at most after this, so should be a lot of fun. The whole family's going to be in the audience, so if you spot me in the crowd,
you'll be hooting and hollering.
Exactly.
You don't blend in, Shane. We've established that.
Yeah. It's the height you mean. You don't mean the.
Absolutely.
Yeah. 6'4" and all that. Yeah.
That is actually.
It's not the dodgy shirts.
7:34. I was lining up a conversation for this morning about like Brighton really should have won that game last night. They were just the dominant team for 90 plus minutes, and had a hatful of chances. McAllister come close, Matoma came close. Really the sort of a game that and Evan Ferguson, where he fit, would have flourished in. And I felt that was true. And then Luke Shaw's hand pops up in the middle of the box with almost the last action of the game. And you just knew, the second you saw it, once the VAR had a look at that, it was going to be a criminal act if it hadn't resulted in a penalty. It was blatant and obvious.
Yeah.
And sure enough, the referee had to go pitch side, take a quick review, penalty given. Even Luke Shaw afterwards, he came out in an interview on Sky afterwards and very much accepted that. He said, I really don't know what my hand was doing there, which I thought was refreshing honesty.
Hands up, it was my fault. Which was very, very good on Luke's behalf.
I enjoyed the refreshing honesty from Luke Shaw. He's not a player that you hear from too often. I absolutely I overflow with respect for somebody who had such a pivotal negative impact on the game that clearly volunteered to come out and speak to the media afterwards as well.
Mea culpa.
So I thought that was, I know that that's a part of the culture of this United team, that they're happy to put their hands up, as you say.
Exactly. I actually said after the full-time whistle to my housemates last night, I was like, Luke Shaw is going to come out in front of the media. Like, that's just what he does.
Yeah.
He tends to do it on good days as well, but he's starting to do it more and more. He seems to be one of these voices that he's much better at speaking now, Luke Shaw, than he was 5 years ago.
Right.
If you look at his interviews 5 years ago, he's clearly kind of blended into a leadership role. I don't know what his hand was doing up there. He did say in the interview as well, he got a nudge and all the rest, and he was pointing out to the free kick that led to the corner. He said that was never a free kick. But then how far back do you go? It probably wasn't a free kick, but that's not an excuse for what his hand was doing.
I think he's accepting that as well on some level. It's like, you make whatever rationales you can to get yourself to sleep at night.
Yeah, exactly.
But Brighton were the better team. They fully deserved the win.
Yeah.
I'm falling in love with Brighton. They're so much good about the club.
They probably edged it.
Attractive play.
That was a close
good
game.
Players, good manager.
Noel Cahill here in the comments saying he thinks United were the better side.
Yeah,
There were arguments for the first half.
Established United fan.
Marcus Rashford and Anthony Martial had chances on their left foot, which Jason Steele saved well from Martial and Rashford, actually.
Some good saves from Steele last night.
Very good. Yeah,
and
good distribution.
And Karu Matoma, who had a really good game, but his finishing let him down. He had a brilliant chance in the first half when he intercepted another United defensive mistake and lapse. Was through 1-on-1 with De Gea and could have passed inside to Enciso, but went for the glory, and De Gea made a great save. De Gea was very good last night, and we were discussing yesterday in our post show. We were surprising most clean sheets in the Premier League. He's up there, De Gea, this season.
What do you mean he's up
first? He's got 15.
First or second?
He's got 15. Pope is 13, and then the two lads Ramsdale and Alisson.
That is
13.
a surprise.
Yeah.
It is, because he's much maligned, and it was actually off the back of Harriet Pryor yesterday praising Alisson Becker and how brilliant he's been for Liverpool this season, a bit underrated. And we were saying, is there something about a goalkeeper when you're kind of unassuming and you just go about your job that you get left behind, especially if you're not contending for a title? With De Gea, the only time we really talk about him is when he makes mistakes.
Yeah, it's funny because watching Roberto,
the same.
Yeah, watching De Zerbi on the sideline last night. John O'Shea was asked in the roadshow the other night. He says, which manager who's the best manager in the world right now? And he paused for a second, and the first name that came to his mind was Roberto De Zerbi.
Wow.
Which I was shocked by, but he said he watched him up close when Stoke played Brighton in the FA Cup earlier this season.
Yeah.
He said just so impressed by his in-game tactics and the way he conducts himself during the match as well.
And there is the liveliness of him.
Yeah, there's something about him.
He was getting a full-on work-out last night, that is for sure.
The chair, when he looked like he was going to rip the chair out of the
chair.
He took the cover off
at half-time.
Very expensive.
Another reason I'm falling over Brighton, they said they invited the TV cameras into the dressing room. Sound off. Yeah. Just do it like it's.
Yeah, that was brilliant.
Sky agreed that at the start of the season. They have extra access. They can do that in certain games
for Brighton or
for the Premier League teams. It's part of the new deal. So you'll see beforehand the pundits are on the pitch.
See the GoPro with Caicedo when they were shaking hands beforehand. He had a body cam on, which is
they
did
it.
As well.
But they do it at St James's Park. They're going to.
Not all clubs are going to sign up.
No, I think you can opt out. But if you want more coverage, and Brighton are very savvy that way. Newcastle are doing the same.
The plastic laundry basket at half time.
They all have
given a bit of a rally, and he was like pulling and dragging.
Oh, that reminded me of Arsenal All or Nothing. Every time Mikel Arteta was getting exercise, which is pretty much every game back then, he was flaking the Skip. Poor Skip, Oliver Skip.
It was Oliver Skip, yeah.
Oliver Skip. Was one of the Brighton bigwigs on the coverage before the game last night, and it was like, I just feel as if they're opening the door to everybody. We're playing great football with great players. We replaced our great manager with an even greater manager, and I think that. And so the bigwig comes out beforehand. I'm doing a disservice there. He's like the deputy CEO or something like that, and was like willing to talk about, to open himself up to questions from Kelly and from Paul Ince and Jamie Redknapp, and get into all the very, you're a selling club. Jamie Redknapp asked him, and he's like, I know, but sure, like, what club really isn't a selling club? Like, even
did you see those stats they displayed on screen? The difference between their transfer business since winter 2021 to now and before then. So they were basically spending very little and getting very little in, and since then they've basically been in profit, like with the amount of money they're making in sales, and seemingly getting better. And they have this incredible scouting system where they're finding these brilliant young talents, not just Ferguson, but Enciso, but Benanate, who played last night,
a young lad called Ferguson.
Young lad, yeah. He's going to be decent apparently.
Not just Ferguson.
The recruitment is so good that you almost feel if some of these lads are sold, in the next, McAllister being one of them possibly to Liverpool if that comes to fruition, but you trust their process to bring in new players. I also love did you see Lewis Dunk afterwards with Jimmy Carragher?
Very good.
Or Jimmy Redknapp, sorry. Just really good analysis
at that stage.
Yeah, this is it. Playing out from the back. But even the talk, the fact that he was looking at
if the answer was too quick.
Go on. This will be good. Playing out from the back, and Lewis Dunk was. They showed him a few clips, and they were stopping the camera, and they were like, "Oh, this is how we play out from the back." And the pressing from Bruno Fernandes say leads to one person doing one thing. They all know their patterns. And he was also pointing out the fact that I know at number 6, number 8, number 10 how they play, and that he could probably slot into the Brighton team and do those jobs. Everyone in the Brighton team knows everyone else's job to the T. So that speaks volumes of De Zerbi. And as he said last night, Lewis Dunk, some of the ideas from De Zerbi we haven't even seen yet. There's so much more to come.
And also, one of my favourite players in the last couple of years when he broke through with Chelsea is Billy Gilmore. I've seen very little of him at Brighton, and he played midfield. That's how good the side is. And he had Caicedo playing right back last night. So can you imagine if he was playing centre mid, and they did have Ferguson as an option. And I suppose like you say, Adrian, how Brighton are everyone's second favourite team, I suppose, if you're supporter side in the Premier League, is that they really took it to Manchester United. And if you were watching your very first football game last night, you would not be able to tell the difference in quality. In fact, you would say the home side are probably shading this. And United were pretty strong. Like, they had a strong team out. Like Luke Shaw playing centre half out of position, but I think he's done very well at centre half overall. So it's not like they were massively weakened. Diogo Dalot and Aaron Wan-Bissaka are in the form of their lives at United. So you look around the team, okay, they're missing Martinez and Varane, but other than that, it was fairly strong. I
don't think they shaded it, by the way.
I thought United.
I don't think they were far better. I'd say Brighton shaded it.
I felt if it had finished 0-0 and Luke Shaw hadn't did what he'd done, that Brighton could have rightly felt, damn it, that one was one to get away, and United would have left the ground going, grand.
I suppose United had chances as well, and they just weren't clinical. And even Martial, there's one point in the game where Ten Hag is vociferous in the sideline, and it's because Martial's not pressing.
He got in one at one point as well, didn't he?
Yeah, there were just chances that they left behind. I was looking forward to Wan-Bissaka against Matoma, by the way, which kind of delivered.
Matoma was okay, certainly not.
Matoma was very good.
Yeah, but he can be much better, and his finishing as well. I think I'm interested in your point, Shane, about. You would be confident if they sold all these players that the academy would fill them in.
Or the recruitment.
And I certainly accept that could happen over a period of time. But I do think that, because I was actually looking at it last night and thinking, if you had a shopping list of some of the bigger clubs, particularly, if you had a shopping list of the players that might get out of there, and Caicedo is probably one of those, McAllister is one of those, Matoma is definitely one of those, Solly March is probably one of those.
I could have got goal of the season. A little run from deep.
Yeah, lovely goal.
Jason Steele, looking at him last night, could be one of those.
Sanchez is out of the team now, and he's a fine goalkeeper.
The manager is probably one of those, right? Yeah. So suddenly when you remove that cohort of 6 or 7 players, because we're all very excited about, and I'm looking at this admittedly through an Evan Ferguson lens, and we're all very excited about what he might bring to the thing. I think that his development can take a backward step if you remove those 5 or 6. And I'm not saying that they're going to get rid of all of those. You can be damn certain that they're going to get rid of some of them, because McAllister and some of the back pages this morning have been linked with Liverpool. I don't know, is it like 80 million quid? That's the sort of thing that'll probably happen.
Some penalty.
He took that well.
So I think if you remove all of those, Brighton are probably in a relegation battle.
If you remove everyone from their team,
I'm not talking about everybody, but those names that I've mentioned specifically, I do think that obviously, like Shane said, some academy players will come in. Some I know, but the difficulty that they have, tying it back to the point about the deputy CEO talking about them being a selling club, the difficulty they'll have is that the reality is Liverpool will come in at 80 million for McAllister. There'll be 50-60 million bids for Matoma, maybe even more, and Brighton won't be able to stop that. Like I mentioned the Southampton example earlier very deliberately, in that, do you remember a few years ago we spoke about Southampton in the exact same terms, and we said, look at if they lose Lallana, Shaw there at that time, whoever there was a real core to talent that had been developed through this amazing scout and through the system, and we thought, well, this is just built for the future. In reality,
Brighton are outperforming what Southampton did then. And so they're shooing for Europa League, and it'll be interesting to see what they do or how they perform next season when they have to juggle the European football. Also, they're getting João Pedro from Watford, so it's another contender for a slot up front with Ferguson.
By the way, Alexis McAllister will be some signing for Liverpool. He has it's not just the play, but I think you need a certain attitude to play at some of those top 4 or 5 teams. off the pitch. You need to conduct yourself in a certain way. Like I look at some of the Liverpool signings, like Gakpo. Similar, strikes me as a player who has an air about him off the pitch. McAllister, as Paul Ince said last night in the coverage, he's so humble for a man. He's just won the World Cup.
Yeah,
he's just scored a last minute penalty to beat Manchester United, like and possibly help his club get European football. And yet he's thinking about other people. He's thinking about the young players at the club. He's mentioning players back home in his native country in Argentina as well. He's just so down to earth for a man that was heavily involved in a World Cup win just months ago.
The cojones on him to for the way he takes a penalty generally, to stand there for 5 or 6 seconds.
Yeah, I know.
So once the whistle goes, players go, I just need to get this over,
get it done,
get in, get it taken. He
Soaks
stands
it up.
there for
He
5 or
does,
6 seconds.
That's true.
Waits.
It's a good
Like
point.
even from a goalkeeper point of view, you must be thinking, when is he going to start running here?
I think
Yeah.
he's getting the keeper's head, because the keeper has to stand there for that portion of time as well.
Yeah.
So
No rule against that. Do you know, if the referee
That's what I
the
wondered.
referee blows the whistle,
How long does that go
take
on
the
for?
penalty. How long are you allowed to stand there for?
but it's never.
You can't. They're not going to blow the whistle and go, forget it. So
Well, like imagine if he goes,
Free out.
if he just, what I was thinking was at some point the referee's going to have to step in. So imagine if he goes, steps in, and McAllister just starts his run, and they're like,
Well, it's like
Yeah,
it's,
yeah.
it's
The ball
like the
into the
driving
ground.
test. The driving test, there's no minimum speed, but there is a max speed, but there's no minimum speed. You just make gradual progress.
well,
so we had to
but
make gradual
if you were
progress.
doing 3 kilometres an hour, the tester would be like,
Yeah,
you
God,
have
well,
failed.
no,
now
there's
at
some
this."
countries there. There's if you go below the speed limit, you get fined.
Yeah,
on a
yeah,
motorway.
yeah,
That's good. It's just as dangerous to drive very slowly.
Below
And
the speed limit?
Yeah, if you go like you
That
could
doesn't
you get
make
pulled over.
sense.
Ah, yeah.
No,
That's
as in
not
below,
right.
not below the speed limit.
No,
but
sorry,
like-
below the sorry. If you're driving too slowly, is
Yeah.
what I should say
Yeah,
to
yeah.
clarify.
Well, that's a totally different
if you're
point.
driving too slowly, now you
Totally
get
different
pulled
point.
over, and it's like,
And
geez, you're
that's-
driving very
you're just
dangerously there.
contradicting what Shane
So
just
what
said.
were you saying there? How did that tie into what you just
Because
I was
said?
just
Shane
saying
was
he could make gradual progress. You know, there's no
Yeah.
necessary
Now-
number you can put on it.
This is the obvious statements now, right?
Jeez, that'd
But
be a real balance.
McAllister's
Like,
penalty
you'd have to
is
do 120
is
kilometres
the,
an hour.
Is the I clarified myself though, and then we're going back to it,
Okay,
but I've
we are.
clarified it, right?
yeah.
You're getting a bit
it's
hotter, yeah.
roasting.
The
You've
cork's
done a
coming
couple
out
of
there.
buckets
It
as
is
well.
roasting.
Yeah.
So McAllister's penalty, right, was perfect. Like obviously, but I've never
Yeah.
seen a penalty saved in a top corner.
No, it's true.
Ever.
If you can do it
So if
consistently.
you can do it, but it takes so much nerve and courage
And the
to
angle
actually
he
do
comes
that.
at, was it Redknapp afterwards pointing out was when they were chatting to him, you were in bed at this point, but he was
No, I
making
was-
the point
I
that
watched
basically
it, I
at
watched
a
back, right,
right
yeah.
angle to the ball on the left hand
Oh,
side,
yeah, yeah.
which to bring it to run this way and kick it that way, it makes it even more
forces the
more
keeper to go
difficult.
that way. Also, David De Gea was never saving that penalty. I mean, sorry, even
but
if the penalty
anyone-
had gone towards David De Gea, he would not have saved the penalty because David De Gea does not save penalties.
Which is that?
He can't save a penalty for his life.
No, I know you're
hasn't
no,
done.
you're
Isn't
correct.
that-
You're
isn't the
correct.
proof in the-
No, you're correct. But in this instance, it's different.
Fountainstown Forlan, by the way, I just want to bring attention to this comment from Fountainstown Forlan on YouTube here. It says De Gea was concussed last night, but there's no concussion in a man's game like football. And it certainly leapt out to me last night that he had taken a ball square in the face from Matoma's shot that time. And was prone for ages, was clearly the mark of the ball was visible in his head. The medic was in and was trying to establish what was going on. It didn't seem to be any indication that he would take a step out or that he'd be substituted or anything like that. And also the medic was covering his mouth
Yeah,
while he
yeah.
was...
Yeah.
I didn't like that. I just didn't like it. It seemed to be I don't want people to know what I'm saying.
Well, I presume they tend to do that just for the players' privacy, for health reasons.
I just didn't like it because we should know the process of what's happening there. You know, like it's not like we don't know. It's not like a condition that we don't know. We've seen
Yeah.
him get hit square in the head by the ball, so he's doing some concussion protocol, I presume, with him.
Which he must have passed.
You know, and like, what is the nature of the conversation that you need to be hiding? I don't like it. I have to say, it would definitely. I'd take a few minutes to try and get my head around what it was that was going on. That was just a little bit
Yeah.
not right.
In lighter news as well, I've noticed that players aren't taking corners in the designated corner spot. They're putting
Oh,
the ball
yeah,
ahead of
yeah,
it.
yeah.
And then
Well,
last night,
yeah.
the linesman corrected someone, one of the players taking
Yeah.
the corner,
Right
and like,
towards
put
the
it
end
back
of it,
there. And then he replaced the ball, but he put it in the same place.
Well,
and
he
linesman
didn't,
saw
he
it and
didn't.
was like, I
didn't.
can't say it again. But it was still outside.
It was,
Quadrant.
but the rule is that the edge of the ball has to be hovering over
Didn't
the
it
has to be
didn't
hovering
touch-
over the
it
edge.
didn't touch it.
No, it doesn't have to touch it. The edge of the ball has to be hovering over the same airspace as the line.
There was no hover. If it went
There was a
to, if
hover.
the corner went to VAR,
There was,
right,
however.
and it was over the ball. Like, you know, the aerial view there, the nice one they give us. It wasn't even related to the corner spot.
It was hard to tell that because I was watching this exact
Easy.
thing with the same interest.
Easy to tell.
It was hard to tell, but the lines person was stood right beside it, looking at
Should
it.
put it to the edge of the box.
I think you should fight more about this because this is a massive issue. This is a
Burning
big,
issue.
big concern.
It could be the difference, Shane.
I should mention Frank's commentary on YouTube says Paul's range is top class, very reasonable too.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Paul himself typing in. Very nice. Do you know what we should mention?
I don't.
Before we move on, Napoli, winning their first title since 1990, since the Diego Maradona days. And for people who can't see, we're playing a video here at the moment. It's overhead of the city of Naples, and there's fireworks all over the gaff.
Whose video is that?
It's doing the rounds on Twitter.
Will we give a bit of credit here?
We will, yeah.
The noise of the fireworks, lovely.
Can you hear that?
That's fantastic.
Yeah, but it's
ASMR.
It reminds me of the scene from Point Break.
That's Colm Miller.
Colm Miller.
At Miller_Colin on Twitter.
Looks like LA.
He's a football writer with the Mirror.
Very good. Thanks for
Fantastic.
that.
Look at the scenes, lads.
This gone viral overnight, so I'd say you'll see it if you're in any way social media inclined.
My housemate Andy made the point last night. It made me a little bit sad. Diego Maradona passes away, and then Argentina win the World Cup, and Napoli win the Scudetto for the first time in 33 years, and he's not here to see it, which made me a little bit sad inside. But fantastic scenes for the Napoli fans. I mean, Jesus, 33 years. What are you smiling at there?
No, I'm just, it made me a little bit sad inside.
Thought you were smiling at
And
Colm.
then you put on your shirt and you just thought, no.
Yeah, this lightened up my mood for the Friday morning. Let me know what you think, people. I know it's a proper Friday shirt.
No, it's nice. There's a bit of love coming in for it.
A lot of comfort there for it as well.
We do what's coming up and then come back to a few comments. The run of things. We're gone 10 to 8 on this Friday morning. Delighted to have you with us if you're talking shirts or football, whatever it is you're having yourself. Here's what's coming up on the show from between now and 10. Ronan O'Gara is standing by. We'll talk to him in a couple of minutes' time as the La Rochelle have booked themselves into another Champions Cup final, so we'll get his thoughts on that in just a moment. Kathleen McNamee will get into the nuts and bolts of what's been happening in European football this week and looking ahead to the WSL. We may even come to the Gianni Infantino comments with Kathleen at 8:10 this morning. Alan Quinlan will give his own reflections on the Champions Cup semi-finals and look ahead to the ORC quarters as well. We're going to have the Friday Fire Pit where we'll be discussing people are exercised by King Charles what's the coronation?
The third.
Being screened on Irish TV, so that'll be apparently coming up. Shane's not into that. No. Ronan McNamee, the Tyrone footballer, will be with us to discuss the Darkness into Light, which will happen this weekend, and that's at 9:10. And Imogen Cotter was chatting to Shane. Really interesting story and a really interesting speaker, and that's coming your way at 9:30 this morning. That's us.
You're good to go.
Colm, you're
what we're all waiting for.
You're attired and
thumbs
looking
up,
sharp, and thanks a million for your company.
Thanks for having me again. You make it so easy.
It's always so fun, Colm. Yeah,
you make it great.
Yeah, you two are like a fighting couple, by the way. Every Friday I have to deal with this crap.
Through love, though.
It's through love. Yeah.
Fighting it all,
through love.
I'm glad I'm not sitting between you, you know.